Hi. This week I saw a movie where a sister reconnects with her sister and rich people are hunting them. And I also saw a movie where this sister that haven't talked to her sister in more than 10 years reconnects with her sister under duress and a difficult situation where rich people are hunting them. Wait. Oh, yes. Actually, both movies, they have the same premise.
Okay, Johnny, this one's got your number on it. Let's jam.
Welcome to Cinema Jam. Today I'm going to do a mini jam about two movies that in paper sound pretty similar. Ready or Not, Here I Come, and They Will Kill You. These movies came out around the same time in March of 2026 in the United States and have a very similar premise. So in the first movie, we have Samara Weaving playing Grace Macaulay. She survived the she survived a very deadly game of hide and seek in the first movie where she was going to be the sacrifice to Satan. And at the end of the movie, she was able to overcome all the difficulties and get ahead of their family, of her new family, her new in-laws. And we end at the movie basically where she's covered in blood, the house is on fire, and we start this movie right where the other one ends. And we find that she has a sister that she hasn't talked to in more than a decade, whose name is Faith Macaulay, played by Catherine Newton, another final girl famous for horror movies like Samara Weaving. So we have these two scream queens basically playing together in a very very interesting game of hide and seek again. In this case, it's in a giant golf course or a hotel with a giant golf course around it where they are being chased by these billionaires that are also going to use them as a sacrifice to Satan and satisfy his bloodlust. The irony is that They Will Kill You has a very similar premise. So in this movie, we have Zazie Beetz as Asia Reeves. She is looking for her sister Maria Reeves Mayala, that she knows is living, or at least it was brought to a hotel as a maid. And she disguises herself as a new maid and is trying to rescue her sister. What she didn't know is that in this hotel, all the inhabitants are immortals and they need to sacrifice her to Satan or to a demon to be able to keep that immortality. The difference between these two movies is that the Ready or Not movie is more of a horror comedy movie. It has some action around it, but it's more about the chase. These two women are actually not big fighters. I mean, they do defend themselves. They want to survive. It's the survival instinct what drives them. But they trying to also outsmart all the these billionaires that want to hunt them. The thing about Sasha Beetz is that she's a fighter. There is a lot of inspiration of anime, Japanese anime in the movie. You can tell it by the way she handles her machete, the way she fights. This is a very stylish movie compared to Ready or Not, where they are more focused on the characters and the character building. There is barely any character interaction between these two sisters, Maria and Asia. They love each other, but this one is more about the spectacle. This movie is about the action pieces. There is a very interesting set pieces around. For example, there is a dark ballroom where Asia is fighting with an axe on fire, and that's the only light in the room, and she's killing or trying to kill these immortal rich people that want to capture her and sacrifice her. There is also a ballroom fight in this one where the two the two women fighting in this scene, for example, they are blinded by a maze that one of the characters finds, and is more funny. Is trying to be more. He's also trying to be unique in his style, but it's more about, they're crashing into tables, thinking they're going to hit the other woman. So it's more like about, trying to be funny and different in that way, while this one was more stylish and the spectacle of the axe on fire.
What's exciting for me is terrifying for you.
So, and that's a perfect example. So it's trying to show you a different type of movie. While in writing, it's a very similar premise. This sister that haven't talked to each other in more than 10 years are trying to survive together, and they trying to find each other and get out alive together of this hotel. But the story and the way they're told, the way they're treated are very different. As I said before, this is more like an anime, this is more like an horror comedy. And it also has a very different style of casting. So for example, in They Will Kill You, the supernatural element is present at the start, while in Ready or Not is there, but it's not the main obstacle of the movie, right? It's actually an obstacle for the bad guys that want to kill the sisters. In this one, the supernatural element is the advantage that they have against the sisters, because Asia is not immortal, but so she can get hurt, while the other characters are basically, they can revive from having their head blown up. So it's a feature, not a bug, and in this case is a bug, not a feature, because they cannot, basically in the end, they cannot cheat the rules of the game, So there is actually some funny moments where one of the characters kills another one, and because it's an accident, they explode in blood and gore, and it happens several times in the movie. The Ready or Not is actually directed by the same team that bring the first one, the Ready or Not first part, and that's Matt Martinelli, Olpin, and Tyler Gillett. They do a good job. The direction, I think, is very strong. I'm actually surprised, because normally I don't like this type of sequels where they are kind of like an obvious cash grab, but I did like the way they grow the universe, and they find an interesting way to tell a different story, a continuation of the story. But it doesn't feel as like they were trying to cram a story in there. The other thing I didn't like, it was like, okay, she just survived this, and basically less than 24 hours later, she's all again put in the same situation. I didn't like that. There should be a little bit, at least an effort to make it seem like it's not obvious. It is basically the same day. Okay, that's fine. I mean, they wanted to connect it to the other movie. And in the other one is directed, They Will Kill You is directed by Kirill Sokolov. He's also a horror director that has done some, several movies also related to this type of, violent and bloody movies. So it's in his style. And this one is released by Warner, so it has a big backing behind it. In the end, I actually recommend the two movies. I actually find them more interesting than I expected. I do say that, I do believe you need to watch Ready or Not, the first part, before you watch Ready or Not 2, because it connects directly. They give you some flashbacks and ideas of what happened in the first movie, so maybe you won't need it, but it will actually give you a little bit more context, especially around the character of Samara Weaving. In They Will Kill You, just be ready for a lot of blood, a lot of action. It's more like an action horror movie than Ready or Not. This is more like a horror comedy, so there you have your main differences. Let me know if you watch any of them or if you have a preference of these two very similar movies, at least on paper. I really want to know. Leave your opinion or your pick in the comments. Until next time, keep jamming about movies.